So I'm gonna do what I do usually at the beginning of each class, and I'm gonna go over Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those are the only two coins that everyone should be focused on because they dictate the market. Um, but first and foremost, I'm gonna show Bitcoin dominance and go over what I briefly touched on last stream. Hopefully you were either there to make the stream or you caught the recording of it, but I streamed last Wednesday, so we were like right here. And this, make this darker for you. This was range high, okay? So if anything's ever in a range, whether it's price action of Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever coin, okay, you want to play the range, right? So we broke down, okay, here's range high, here's range low, and then we're just in this range. We broke down and deviated from this range, reclaimed it. For Bitcoin dominance, I mentioned when we get to resistance, right, that's when you want to long alts. And then when we get to support, that's when you want to sell. So yesterday morning, um, we got to the support here, right? And then as you saw, alts just died, okay? So when we get to support on Bitcoin dominance and Bitcoin price is decreasing, alts are just going to flat out die. And if Bitcoin just takes a little push up, alts won't move. It won't move until Bitcoin dominance gets to a level of resistance and Bitcoin stabilizes, meaning it consolidates in a tight range of $50 to $100. You can be like a $200, $300 range, and then also see some push or life again. But because that hasn't happened, if Bitcoin continues to dump, alts will take a harder hit. So focus should not be on alts. You want to focus on macro levels of support and resistances and play those levels. If you're trying to scalp, for example, this Sol play that myself and Neil gave on different things, right? So I gave two plays for Sol. Okay, this was the first one, and we filled it, and TP1 was hit. Okay, when you're playing scalps, you're looking for quick moves. Okay, you can't be swinging scalps and looking for $24 targets. No, you're going to play for quick moves, right? So this one filled and hit TP1, got a 1% move. This second one was the one that I was playing, and I mentioned that. I wasn't playing this first one. This filled perfectly. This was a daily, I think it was a 4-hour order block. Yeah, 4-hour order block. It filled perfectly. Got TP1 and more. After TP1, I moved my stop loss to break even. It was almost a 1.5% move, and then I got stopped out break even. And when we are in a downtrend and we do have red days, you're going to take again those 0.5 to 1% moves and just be happy with it. If you aren't taking profit and you're hoping for 24 to hit, that's like a 4% move, and then you round trip these profits, right? You will lose it all because you won't know when we're going to have another like capitulation event. So when we are going down and we are going down hard, you're looking for quick moves, whether you are on like 200x or 50x, you're looking for quick moves. First of all, if you're doing 50x or over and you're a beginner, you most likely will get stopped out on 90% of trades, especially if you're doing ISO. So I would recommend starting on less than 10x, compound those gains, and then grow your account until you are familiar with leverage, and then you can up your leverage. Leverage is irrelevant. It's all about position sizing, and as soon as you increase your leverage to 100 or 200x, you have the illusion of more capital to play with, but a quick 0.5 or 1% move is going to liquidate you. So start small, compound those gains, and for those that are saying, hey, I have a $50 port or a $100 port, it's hard to make it. I've taken a $50 port in a bear market of 2018, 2019. Even this one, I've taken that on a 10x up to multiple six figures. It did take some time, but you have to compound those small wins to do so. It's not going to happen overnight. And if you are wanting to be in trades every single day, right, you're going to lose it. You have to wait for levels. You have to wait for the price to come to you. And that's how you're going to make money and conserve that money. So that being said, alts again are not going to be the play right now. You want to keep an eye out on Bitcoin dominance. You want to get in on Bitcoin dominance or on alts when we get to levels of resistance and reject. And for now, I'll cover this more in detail in my channel, but not important right now. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. And again, I've mentioned this previously. Nothing has really changed. Okay, this is what I'm still waiting for. We are still holding this uptrend. Okay, we haven't made a lower low yet, so the uptrend is still intact on a macro scale. And you are looking for a retest of this trend line, right? We had 1, 2, 3. This should be a hold point. I'm personally looking for, I'm going to move this really quickly. I am looking for a sweep of these lows here from the first. So I'm looking for a sweep into this support area, which again, previous range highs. If we hold it, we're good. If we lose it, we're going further down. But I'm looking for a bounce in this area, and I've spread out my bids just in case we get that wick down to this area here, which is a previous resistance that we broke out from and haven't filled yet. So this would be an SR area. But if we are able to wick down, fill all my bids, then I'm hoping this holds, because if we do lose this area, okay, and we close a daily below this resistance, or this trend line here, we're most likely going down. If we take a look at BNB, it had that situation. Okay, so if we take a look at BNB, all right, it was holding this uptrend and bouncing from it, and then as soon as we closed the daily below, right, we rejected, turned this into a bearish retest, and then continued to dump from there. So Bitcoin still has not done that. Bitcoin's still holding this trend, and you're going to long the trend until broken. So that's why I'm placing my bids here. I'm looking for a sweep of this low, and then hold, and hopefully I get like a wick down into at least one DCA, and then we go higher. But you're going to play it level by level. You can't say like, hey, we held the trend and then I'm looking for 32, 40K. No, you're going to take it level by level. And that's the play that I gave in my channel. So that's what I'm looking for. On a lower time frame, let's do this. Okay. On a lower time frame, let's take the hour for example. Let's get rid of all this. This play already played out. This was given from last stream. We had a nice 3% move. I'm still waiting for these shorts to happen, but on a lower time frame such as the hour, let's take a look at Coinbase. So we took a sweep of these lows. Okay, here's the sweep. We closed, we reclaimed swing low, and we are probably, this had been massive resistance that we have not filled, and this is a 1 hour order block. Okay, so if we do continue higher, then I am looking for a rejection at this level, right? Now if we were to, for me, I personally don't draw fibs because we do have data back here showing that this is clear resistance, right? But if I were to draw fibs, and we go from swing high down to swing low, okay, we see that this is clear resistance. 29,400 is already resistance, but we didn't need fibs to show us that, right? 29,200 is also resistance. It was previously support that we bounced from. We came down, rejected it, right? So first TP point, if we do continue to bounce from here, and Bitcoin currently looks very weak, so I wouldn't long anything until we go lower, or at least we have confirmation for higher. But this would be the first area of resistance, and we basically almost rejected from it. Hold this, and we break through, then this is going to be your rejection. So like a scalp short can be taken here. Very, very tight stop loss. And honestly, I'm aiming for much lower. So 28,500 is what I want. But again, it's a very tight stop loss, 0.5%. Right, TP1 is going to be this here. It's an SR area once we break through. TP2 is actually going to be this, and TP3, so on, so forth. And this is a 4.3R trade, risking less than 0.5%. I think it's worth it. And then on a higher time frame, no longs should be taken until we flip this 4-hour into support. If you're trying to long like here, right? You want this 4-hour to be turned to support, which we have not done yet, right? It was previously support here, right? Set bounced, came down, rejected, 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 deviated, deviated, deviated. We haven't flipped it to support. We haven't had a 4-hour close above, a clean retest and hold, and then higher. Until that happens, no longs should be taken, and that's why I'm either bidding lower, right, at that 28.5 level, 28.3, and DCAing lower, or I'm waiting for higher to long. Anything in this range, and as long as we are staying below previous range lows, which this is 29.5 is your range lows, as long as the longer we stay below here, the more certainty of us going further down. We haven't had a clean bounce, so that's why I'm not taking any longs on anything at the moment. And then on that 1-hour time frame, if we're looking to short, that would be the area to short. So I'll go ahead and actually post this in chat. It's an idea, it's not an official call. So that's Bitcoin. If we take a look at Ethereum, all right. Again, I'm a high time frame trader because I work too much, and so often I don't have a chance to look at my phone as most of you. So I set bids and I just go away. I have my alerts set, so when price comes to the area, I'm notified that a bid's going to get filled, and I just chill. So I'm in positions, for example, BNB. I've been in that position for about 7 days now. Low time frame price action does not affect me and my decision making. So for those that are busy in their current lives, or unable to watch charts all the time, my trading style will best suit you, and that's what I teach in my course, really. So for ETH, I've been waiting for this play to fill. Okay, here's a 4-hour. Let's move this really quickly. I'm still waiting for this short to fill. We've been bouncing from this 811 support for the longest time. We've had just recently, yesterday. The more we bounce from support, the weaker it's going to be. So we've actually turned 1830-ish into resistance. Again, still no longs in this area. The longer we hover above support after touching it so many times, it's going to show weakness. I expect us to go further down, and that's why I'm bidding this demand zone here. So 1775 is where I want to get long. And I do have DCAs as well that I gave in my channel. You have to scroll up a little bit, but DCA would be the support. And I'm trying to hold this for a move up to 2000. Now, stocks look weak. And I'm not going to post this in chat, it's in my channel, but stocks look very weak, and crypto looks pretty weak too. There's no new money coming in, there's no liquidity, no one's buying. So I expect either we just drop down hard or we go into a macro level of support and it gets bid up. But as long as stocks remain weak, then we could continue the downside. We are not decorrelated from stocks. We won't be decorrelated from stocks for a while. So keep an eye out on that, because if stocks fall hard, then so will crypto. But I'm taking this long. I like the setup. I have the confluence there. And if I were to draw fibs here as well, right, backing up my claim, the 1775, right, it was previously support here, right? We broke down, confirmed the resistance, dropped down, resistance, and then we broke out, flipped it to support right there. So we haven't actually had a support touch of that 1775. That's why I'm starting my bid there. And then the support at 1744 is the 0.23 fib, but again, I didn't need that because I know that there is resistance here. So the 1774 being SR attempt, support resistance flip attempt. So usually when we get the SR attempts, we do have bounces from that point because there is liquidity. So I'm looking for that to fill, and then hopefully we bounce from there. Otherwise, if we do lose the 1746 on the 4-hour and turn to resistance as we did here, I will manually cut my position for a small loss, because if that happens, my entry would be closer to my DCA point. So I go lighter and heavier on DCA. So my average should be around there. I'll make this like orange. Never mind, that's an ugly ass color. I'll make that like purple. So I'll take a small loss if that happens, because if we do turn into resistance, just as we did here, we most likely will go further down. The next point of that will actually be 1710 to 1700, which is already support on the 4-hour. Yeah, it was previously resistance, right? Turned into support there. We reclaimed it, turned into support there. So this 1713 to 1710 region is definitely support, and I would relong there. Yeah, 1775 down to 1700 is a good region. I agree. But that's why I'm front running this 1775 SR attempt. For long-term trades, let's say if I had to open for 2 or 3 days, I don't trade more than 10x leverage. Again, leverage is irrelevant. It's all about position sizing. So if you open up a trade on higher leverage, right, you're most likely going to be risking more because you have the illusion of playing with more margin. That's not the case. You don't have more margin. It's just an illusion. So I would suggest going in with like no more than 10x if you're new, and if you are a little bit more experienced, 20x to 30x should be your max, to be honest. Anything more than that, you start panicking when you see red, and you make irrational decisions. So I don't go more than 10x. But again, when I have swing trades open, right, for 2 to 3 days, it doesn't mean I'm waiting for my TPs to hit. I can trim whenever I want, and you should be able to trim whenever you are in good profit, because if you're hoping for, a TP1 that's like 3-4% away, and you're going to be stubborn and wait for it, and it doesn't hit, and all of a sudden you round trip, then unfortunately, you won't be able to, and I'm speaking from experience from prior students that had this issue and prior people that are in Discords, whenever you round trip, you're going to have this mentality like, hey, like I have to go bigger on my next trade because I lost so much, or I didn't take advantage of it, and then you won't do it next time. You won't break that habit. So you have to start by taking profits on a 1-2% move, even though TP doesn't hit. to compound those gains and then be comfortable in holding those long-term trades. So for ETH, I'm still waiting lower. This is a no trade zone for ETH. That's the only trade I'm taking. Now, if we take a look at this on a lower time frame, like, who's trading this? Of the 10 people in the world that are trading ETH, like, why are they finding satisfaction in a $8 range for the past, what, 20 hours? You get more satisfaction than from a taser. Alright. But this is your 1 hour range. Right? We've had resistance here, here's support. It's getting weaker and weaker the more we touch it. On a lower time frame, right? We had this sweep of liquidity here, closed below. That was your short trigger. But again, there's no necessary urgency to trade ETH on a lower time frame. Okay. So I'm personally waiting for my Bitcoin and ETH trades to fill. The coins you want to focus on are the ones that are performing well or holding well on this Bitcoin dip, and obviously Sol is one of them. Okay, so the reason for that is because Sol BTC, whenever coins are red, you want to take a look at the Bitcoin pairing to see what's holding. Okay, and I spoke about this last time. I streamed, and I said that this area here was the point where our Sol trades would fill, and again, it filled perfectly. But this deviation here, right, we're actually retesting that support point, and it looks weak. So this demand zone is where I think Sol fills next on the Bitcoin pairing. And if that doesn't hold, then Sol will be below $22. That would assume that Bitcoin is probably under 28K as well. Okay, so this is the area where we want to hold on Sol. That would equate to about 2242-ish on Sol. And this area is a 1 hour or a daily demand zone. Right, so we actually tapped into it here and bounced. So I expect us to maybe hold here for one more time. So an area to long Sol could be it's a very wide stop, right? So you have to go in with very low margin at entry, and then DCA would probably be here at 2174. 82. So entry at 2242, DCA 2182, stop loss below 2105. And again, if we fall back into this range or playing this range, the R&R isn't worth it. But I do think this is a bounce point. Now, if Bitcoin loses, if we go to 28.5, you will get that fill, I promise you. But if Bitcoin loses this blue box here, that support area, Sol and every other coin, altcoin will have a capitulation, and you will probably see about 10 to 15% dump on everything. So that's why if you're playing any alts, you want to go in with a very low margin. So that would be the Sol setup. Possible double bottom here. Again, wicks are okay. You're looking about where the candles close. Lose and turn 2182 into resistance. It was previously resistance, right? Again, it failed to hold here. went down, and then we actually flipped it to support. If we lose it and turn it into resistance, right, on the daily, then we're most likely going lower, and the first entry would be this demand zone here. But if that happens, then you can cut your SOL short or your SOL long for a small loss, and then most likely play this demand zone here. But I think this should hold and offer at least a 1 to 2% bounce, which would be around $22.80. So I'll post this as well. Ape. What's the obsession with this shitcoin? I've been seeing it a lot lately. Alright. Well, this looks disgusting. I haven't even opened up the full chart yet. Let's not look at Bybit though. Let's look at the spot chart. Great. Looks like it wants new lows. Alright. Clear support on the daily here. 1.76. 1.76 down to 1.74-ish, okay? Someone has a hot mic.
Solko?
Alright. Daily order block here. Let's go on a 4-hour. Resistance. Alright. So last 4-hour took these lows here. Okay. So a very, very risky scalp could be something like, depending on your risk tolerance, okay, you can place it below this wick here, which is like a 2% risk, and play it back up to here. Or a very tight stop loss would be below here, but you also have these bounces here, right? So it could come back down and test that. So I would go in with maybe the stop loss below this support here on the 4-hour, or these wicks here, with very, very reduced risk, and play to range high, or this resistance here, which most likely will reject because we were unable to hold the SR attempt. We broke out, failed to hold, went straight through, and we haven't actually retested it. So I expect a rejection there. This is again granted with no news or anything on any of these coins, right? So if news comes out on FA or whatever, then all the levels are not going to be respected. So stop loss, again, previous range, right? You're just going to play the range until broken, and that would be the setups. But Ape looks disgusting. Lose 1.76, it's going to make new lows. How much lower do you want this to get? We had a failed breakout attempt. The short that I would take, to be honest, would be if we ever get it. What is this? Yeah. So no longs should be taken until this trend line is flipped to support, just like we did here, right? Broke out, retested. That would have been your long up to there. Hasn't happened yet. So you're waiting for, again, this long area would be, again, the resistance point, right? So you're waiting for something like this to get long. Otherwise, the only long attempt that you could take is a possible scalp here, but this looks weak. And I would again short there, most likely. If we do get back up there, I don't know how fast this coin moves. I don't know why this moved so high here. But going up to here, I expect a rejection. It's going to be confluence with this horizontal resistance and also this downtrend. Deviated here, came back, right? That was a short trigger. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what caused this to move, but ape looks kind of gross. Because yeah, if we lose and turn this into resistance, you're going to short, and I don't know how low it's going to go. There's no data, at least not on Binance. We have this here, but I'm not counting that. So shorts are going to be taken up at the range highs. You have your confluence, possible short scalp or long scalp here, tight stop, low margin, and you're going to play the range until broken. If we get up to this daily order block, then you're going to short that as well. So I'll post that. Ruin. Let's take a look at. I think I have this somewhere. All right. Okay. So this is what I'm currently waiting for on Ruin. It was an actual perfect rejection from this daily order block. Anyways, I'm looking for this area is resistance. It's actually being kind of flipped to support right now, but I'm looking for a final push up, and I'm looking to short this daily order block with the 786 fib as confluence, and then push back down. I don't know how funding is on. Let me check on my phone really quickly. How's funding on Ruin? Is it still negative? Yeah, it's still negative. How's perp versus spot? Okay, it's about a penny off. So spot is still leading. Yeah, spot is still leading. A short attempt here can be, let me show you this really quickly. I think I went over this last time. It's the bearish Quasimodo pattern. I'm just getting an image of it so you guys can see it side by side. All right. Whoops. Okay. Again, this is my favorite pattern in a bear market. Okay. So we have the higher high. Here's the higher low, right? We made the higher high. Here is the fourth wave, which is the lower low. So a possible short can be taken here. This will send it into a lower high if we reject, and then further down. So a 1 hour scalp can be taken. Don't mind where this goes. You're going to take profit at levels of support. Okay, so first is going to be actually here. This is going to be the deviation point support, and we actually are possibly reclaiming it. So this would be the first take profit. Second one would be here. Probably one a little bit higher since we're scalping it, so probably here. That's it for now. If we hold this 1 hour above, then it could possibly be a long trigger up to here, but it's almost a 1 cent variance from spot versus perp. Okay, but I would like to get long for the swing long here. As long as this stays negative, people are going to be longing it, but as soon as price or the funding fee stabilizes just like LPT did, right, then it's just going to die. And I think this was led by a type of news FA, but I mentioned in chats many times that we had a daily breakout and retest there. So that was your long trigger, right? We broke out, retested. Even if you longed over here, you'd have still made money. But yeah, like it's been respecting levels, clean chart, breakout. I'm looking to swing long or swing short it here. If you guys are looking to short this thing here, it'll be here. But as soon as funding goes higher into the negative, I would not take this trade because it's going to cause a short squeeze. So if that happens, the other short is going to be, depending on how far this goes, right? If we squeeze up here, continue to squeeze, you're looking for a run of these highs, close below, that's your short trigger with your stop loss above the wick that's going to be created. It hasn't happened yet, so you can't set limits. This is a confirmation trade, swing failure pattern, and that's how you're going to play it. I think on a 4 hour, yeah, see, this was a demand zone that perfectly got tapped. And this is how I trade. I look for demand zones and support resistance flips. And if you had long that, I gave it to my class the other night, but 7% move. So for now, I'd wait until these two triggers hit. One is going to be the limit order here. You can set your limits, set alerts for yourself closer, maybe around like 1.56. Okay, this is no important level, but this is just a level that if price comes here, you want to take a look at your phone and be ready and take a look at funding fee. If you see the funding is extremely negative, you want to cancel this limit and wait for this short trigger to possibly squeeze. The short trigger would be a run of these highs here, right? Again, close below the previous swing high, and that's your short trigger with your stop loss above the wick. You want to enter light just in case we do squeeze above the wick created and then close back down. Could happen as well. But that would be the triggers for ruin. Otherwise, if we close the 1 hour above this, just like we did here, right? We had a deviation. There's the retest. Here's the deviation. Breakout. This is actually the possible. Is this a retest point? No, it's open on here. So if we close above, you could set limit orders here with your stop loss probably below 1.45. Very, very tight scalp. And play it that way. And then you would TP around this 1 hour order block. Again, confirmation trades. Confirmation trades, you have to be literally watching everything. So let me post this really quickly. Who said ruin? Okay. Ruin, and then this is, I gave this short in my channel, but I'll post it here as well. BNX. I don't know what this coin is, but we'll take a look at it. Is there a perp? Okay. Also, another chart that looks like dog shit. It has to bounce here, otherwise it's dead. Wait, is this the lowest it's been? Hold on, let me take a look at the spot chart. Whoops. Yeah. This looks disgusting. Must hold level. Let's go back to perp. Same chart. Bearish engulfing daily candle yesterday continues. If it doesn't reverse here for a possible triple bottom, I guess, then it's going to make lower lows or newer lows. So if it closes below here, next candle also closes below, it's going much lower. I can't give you a price because we don't really know how. Actually, let me see. Let's twist this around. Let's get extension fibs. Whoops. Let's start it from here. Alright, those would be your levels. So if it makes new lows, those would be the levels to possibly buy at. But if you are shorting after it closes the daily below, next candle also closes below, those would be the levels to take profit at. It has to bounce here or it's going to die. I'm not giving a setup for this because I don't deal with... I don't even know what this coin is. I only deal with high cap coins. So it has to bounce here, otherwise it's dead. If it ever goes back up here, it's a short. But yeah, let me do this. I'll leave these here. I'm going to invert it. I'm leaving this resistance line. I left it inverted, so if people do short it on confirmation, that's the levels that you guys can take profit at, or the levels you can buy at. Oh, I don't deal with NFTs. Such a garbage concept. Okay, here. Alright. Link. Alright, let's take a fresh look at Link. Alright, Cable, I'll do it towards the end. Or after this, I guess. Alright.
Mas for visit dos.
Link. Alright. So with trend lines, the best thing, or with TA, the good thing is that you can draw trend lines over and over and over again until it fits your narrative, right? So there was this trend line here. We'll make that blue. Right? Held, broke down, retested, and a free information guide in my pinned messages. I give information on how to play breakdown retests. So it's in my channel, it's pinned. But we broke down, right? Retested, closed below, short trigger. Now we draw a new trend line, and it's on it. Okay, so I would long the trend until broken. However, again, as I mentioned in the beginning, I'm very shaky on alts because if Bitcoin dies here, alts take a huge nuke. Okay, but if you are looking to trade this, this would be the setup. Right? It's very, very easy in validation. It's too wide. Let's go on a lower time frame just to get the stop loss placement. So we come back down. Very, very tight stop. and you're looking for a move into the supply zone to sell. Now, is it worth it? Let's see the risk to reward. It's a 3R trade to the top of it. However, the last hour looks disgusting and possibly might engulf this one. So maybe place at the trend line again and hopefully it bounces. You're risking less than 1%. Very tight stop loss. It's a 5-cent stop loss, and you're looking for at least a move up to. That's max TP. All right. Again, it's a 1-hour scalp. Probably, if you go on a 5-minute, you can place your TPs. So there, there, there. See, we took out these highs here, closed below, liquidity raid. Now, this is a must hold. I never chart 5 minutes, but because volume is kind of dead, right? This is range low, came back up, deviated below. This is a must hold point. Let's take it down actually. Must hold point here. So yeah, your entry could be something like this. Because if it loses this, it's done. And that's the trend line touch. If you get stopped on this, you probably fill on this one, and then your stop is below that wick. Again, I would caution longing alts right now. If you are going to long anything that's not Bitcoin or Ethereum, then you should go in with half of normal position size and low leverage. So I'll post this as well. Hold on, this was a 5-minute chart. Can't believe I'm looking at a 5-minute chart. One sec. Link. And we'll do the Alright. There's link. Okay. So I'm gonna take this quick moment to shill my class, and for those that are interested, please open a ticket or DM me. But basically, I've been teaching courses for, this is my actually 32nd course. Each course has been roughly 2 weeks to a month. It's an accelerated course for if it's a 2-week class, or if it's a 4-week class, then there's 8 sessions. And I basically teach beginners my strategy, and my strategy is no indicators, right? So you have been seeing my charts. I have no indicators, support, resistance, supply, demand, and I've had over 350 students. So basically, I teach them what I've learned, my experiences, the simplicity of trading, and about 90% of them have made all their money back in either knowledge or in trades. Testimonials are posted. If you guys are interested, please again open up a ticket or DM me. All the details are in my channel. I won't go over everything, but basically what we've learned today are just some parts of it. So that's that. Yes, and Neil is actually one of my students. Okay. SNX. Okay, I'll go that in just a moment. What time frame should we typically look at when planning trades? So I always suggest starting on higher time frame and trickle your way down. So I start on the daily, right, and then I trickle my way down as you've been seeing. So daily, and then I plot my resistance and support points, go on a lower time frame, place my support and resistance points, label them on your charts, and then you should have multiple trades or multiple charts open, just like as you see. I have multiple Bitcoin because I have different analyses on both of them, and then trickle your way down and place your trades accordingly. If it's a scalp, anything lower than a 4 hour, right? And if it's a swing trade, anything more than a 4 hour or greater. Scalps are anywhere from minutes to hours, and then swing trades are anywhere from hours to days or weeks possibly. Risks is different for those. So again, if you're scalping, right, usually people are using higher leverage with a very tight stop loss. Those that are swinging are using lower leverage, or should be using lower leverage with a little bit more position size and more breathing room. But I typically start on the daily and trickle my way down. Yeah. Can you take a look at Bake? Yeah. Let me take a quick look at SNX. This will be fast because I think DeFi is dead, and then I'll take a look at Bake. I haven't heard Bake in such a long time. Let's take a look. I don't remember when I charted this. Alright. So, my lines are holding. Wow. Rejected where we need. I haven't looked at this in a while, but rejected where we had to. We're holding the weekly order block, and this is a very important level for it. If we actually close within here, right, you want to take a look at the daily. No, we didn't put in a swing failure, but we have lost trend. So, okay, we've lost trend. Let's draw this trend line too. Okay. Alright, so this daily is actually very important because if we are able to reclaim the trend line, it doesn't have to be this daily, it could take a couple days. If we are able to reclaim the trend line, right, then it's going to be a deviation of this support and then back in, and that's a long trigger. But if we go back up and reject, just like we did BNB that I showed earlier, and again, how to play these are posted in my channel, it's pinned, right? If we close below, like we did on BNB, you're looking for that retest of this diagonal support. If it rejects, then closes below again. It's a short trigger. So this is not a play yet. It's going to be confirmation. Short trigger with your stop loss above resistance. Probably there. And then it's gonna make you'll take levels, or you'll take profit at levels of support, and such as there, and then much lower. So this isn't a long yet until it reclaims the trend line. And if it goes up there, right, rejects, the longer it takes, the more confluence it's going to build up. We do have a supply zone here, right? So if this takes longer and longer, we go here. Not only do we have the bearish retest of this diagonal support, or diagonal support, we also have the supply zone. We also have SR attempt, right? So the more confluence you have in a trade, again, this could be moving higher and higher. The more confluence you have in your trade, the stronger your thesis is going to be backing that trade. Again, no longs until maybe 218. It was resistance at one point. Well, it was support, right? We had bounces, and then we lost it, turned to resistance, reclaimed it, held a little bit, but deviated, and then we broke out and never retested that point, right? So this is actually going to be a SR attempt, and that's where you should bid. Now stop loss placement is going to be very tricky on that because the lows are here and that's too wide of a stop, so you might have to go on a lower time frame to find it. And that lower time frame, yeah, this one's a tricky one. Honestly, like, I would love to place my stop loss there, but that's a 10% stop loss. I don't have enough confluence for it to be here, so maybe 208. That's still too wide. But below, I mean, you can't place it here because this is support. So maybe there. It's a very risky trade to long because I don't know where the proper stop loss is going to be. If you have the risk tolerance, it's definitely going to be down here. So I'm not going to advise that trade. If the R&R isn't worth it, it's not worth taking it. Right? But that would be the short setup. Bake. Taking a look at your chart really quickly. Yes. I agree with that setup, but let me take a look. Okay, well, yesterday we had a bearish engulfing candle, so it already looks bearish, but I see that had a failed breakout attempt. Whoops. Okay, so let's draw that trend line so we know where our weekly resistance is. This is still resistance. It was previously support, right? We rejected again. We went above, were unable to hold it, right? There's the breakout, but we never actually successfully retested it. Came back down, turned into resistance. Let's take a look at the 1 hour. Yeah, beautiful trade. That was a beautiful resistance point to take. So yeah, if your entry was there, stop loss probably up here. Oh, yep. And then you're targeting demand zone. Not only that, but you have a possible inverse or head and shoulders pattern as well. Right? So there's your left shoulder, there's your head, neckline. The right shoulder hasn't formed yet. So if we do, in fact, lose this and turn it into resistance, the technical target for this head and shoulders is much lower. That would insinuate new lows. So let's put that. Let's draw that. But yes, that setup was taken perfectly. If you are looking to get out of the trade, once this is actually flipped to support on the 1 hour, you can exit it. Otherwise, you're looking for TP1, TP2 is down here, and then TP3 at the support supply or the demand zone. And then if we're looking for a possible reshort, if this reclaims it, you're looking for this 1 hour order block. Let's draw this a little wider. Stops above. Damn, that much for a 4% move. So yeah, rejection there, possible double top. 4 hour. If you're taking this trade here, this order block trade, I would have a manual stop loss with very, very low margin entered. Maybe like if you're entering with like maybe, let's say $100, right? And you enter 10% at 10x leverage, right? Or like enter in 5%, because this could actually squeeze above and you're looking for a possible swing failure. So take out the highs, close below, confirm the double top and swing failure, add to your position once this closes below the previous swing high, and then you have your stop loss. Your average entry would come up to like about here, or actually 5% there, maybe 20% here. Your average entry would be closer to like there. And then just watch this fall. So yes, I gave this limit order. You can enter in with very, very small margin if this doesn't reject here and continues to squeeze higher. I don't know why. What's the cause of this pump? But should reject here. I'll post that for you. RNDR. I think I covered this on my stream or my video. Yeah. All right. Okay. Here, let's start from this clean chart. Let's start on the daily, trickle our way down. All right. So we had breakout attempt, right? We never actually cleanly retested until yesterday. We're still holding above. You have support, right? Tricky. Close the daily below this, most likely going further down. But on a lower time frame, we possibly have a double bottom. So for me to cleanly long, as we had this reclaim and deviation here, you want to see a clean reclaim, retest, and then higher. But although we have a double bottom here, I'd be careful because on the daily, right? On the daily, we closed below. We actually retested and closed below. Although we have this candle here, we had a bearish engulfing candle the day before. This might want to go lower, but we need more confirmation based on today's candle closure. So if we do close below, a possible scalp short can be taken. Stop loss very, very tight. I don't know how this coin moves. It looks okay because we don't have giant scam wicks. But if we close the daily below, market short with possible stops. Yeah, right there, very, very tight. And then targeting, below support. But it's again a very, very risky trade with alts. With Bitcoin consolidating how it is right now with no movement. And I mentioned that Bitcoin volatility is low and we can have a major move in the next few weeks. We already had some volatility yesterday, but I'd be careful with longing or shorting anything at current market prices. You can short higher or short lower, but for me, if I were to long this, again, I would need confirmation that this is reclaimed in deviation, which hasn't happened yet. We had the retest, but again, I wouldn't long yet. Because if we close the daily before, and always higher time frames supersede lower time frames. So this has much more power and effect than a 4 hour. And then we just go lower, right? So No trade currently until this is flipped on the 4 hour. Now, if you were looking to short, you could start to scale in at 172 if we get there, up to about 175 with your stop loss up here. Right? Clean resistance, previously support, rejected, deviated, came back down. This should still hold if we flip this around. Right? Clean double top. One, support, support. That was flipped into resistance, right? Support, deviation, come back down here. It will be a triple tap. Deviation, triple tap, which also gives you confluence to, again, this is flipped, right? To short there and DCA higher, and then stop loss above and write it back down. So let me post this as well. This isn't a long yet, unless this is flipped to support. Who said that? RNDR. Cool. I think I covered everything asked. Market really hasn't moved. I don't expect there to be volatility. And one thing I want to say is I saw a lot of people talking about FOMC today and stuff like that. It's FOMC minutes. So the minutes are information that was relied on last meeting. Okay, and that was the 25th, 26th. So that won't affect current price actions. You're actually looking for the meeting where Chairman Powell is going to be speaking that has an effect on the market, right? So anything that has minutes, it's all like a nothing burger. It's just information that was relied on last meeting. So minutes mean nothing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If no other requests, I have one more in me before I head back to work, but this stream is recorded, so I'll post that. No worries, guys. So what I'm going to do is once the stream uploads on YouTube, I'm going to actually tag the first chart that I shared in here, and I'm going to link the Discord link to it, and I'm going to mention that these were just plays that you guys gave me, or coins that you guys gave me, and I gave you potential setups. They're not live setups, so I'm just going to link them. So if you want to refer back to it, you can. That's what I do with the other Discords that I'm with. So if no other suggestions, that will be it for today. Again, if interested in my class, please create a ticket or DM me, and we can go from there. If more touch on support gets weaker. Yes, so the more support or resistance gets touched, the weaker they're going to be. Okay, so in a bull market, consolidation under resistance. So for example, see how we are all right. Let me show you a better chart instead of injective. Let's take a look at SOL, for example. All right. So in a bull market, this consolidation, this tight consolidation under resistance, it was resistance that we lost and turned into, like we rejected and turned into resistance. The longer we consolidate under resistance in a bull market, it's going to lead to a pump. Okay, tight range, people are trying to long, sellers are getting weak, it's going to pump. The longer we, and in a bull market, in a bear market, the longer we hover on support with lots of touches, like this one here, it's eventually going to give out. But because this was on range lows, right, you're going to play the range until broken. But if you see weaker coins, for example, BNB, let me see. Okay, so see how we had so much consolidation on support, right? Many touches of the support. It's eventually going to lose, right? So you're looking for more touches of support, and when you see that, you don't want to long it. You can long it until broken, like for example, Sol, right? Sol had like 20 touches of support, but you want to long with tight stop losses. On a weak coin that you're not getting enough bounces and you're having multiple touches of support, it's going to get weaker. It eventually will give out, especially in a bear market. In a bull market, it's completely reversed. And just like resistance, the more touches of resistance, right, it's most likely going to break out or give in, so it's going to continue higher. But in a bear market, right, it's just going to show that dominance and not do so. So we are in a bear market still until proven otherwise. But and I mentioned this before in many of my videos, I am, I am macro bullish on Bitcoin until this level here, this box, is taken out. Why? Because we're making higher highs and higher lows. If we lose that, okay, and turn into resistance, then we've just made a lower low, and we've lost this trend. Okay, so until this is lost, I'm bullish. Yes, we could come down, I'd still be bullish. Even if we lose the trend here, right, I'm still bullish because we could easily reclaim it. But lose 25.1 to 24.4, then I'm bearish. Cool. So I'll stop it there, and we will call it a day, and I'll stream next Wednesday. I'll post this once available.